Ever hopped on a train and thought, man, I wish this thing ran on, like, I don't know, something a little greener, you
Yeah.
know? Okay, maybe not in those exact words, but
Right.
you get the idea. What if I told you that today we're going to deep dive into a world where trains run on hydrogen
Yeah.
and they leave behind nothing but like a little wisp of water vapor?
Yeah, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Right.
Just right.
But this is real life, folks. We're talking India.
India?
Yeah. A
Wow.
recent Times of India article, it revealed that they're going to be the fifth country in the world with, get this, operational hydrogen trains.
Wow, fifth in the world. That's impressive.
Yeah, and get this, trial runs are slated for December 2024. That's next year. That's not future. That's right around the corner.
That's wild. That's so soon. What's driving this, like, rapid development, do you think?
Well, it seems like India is just like really committed to this whole hydrogen train thing. I mean, they're not just dipping their toes in, they are diving headfirst into this technology.
So before we get too far, can we, like, back up a little bit? For those of us who aren't, train aficionados, what exactly is a hydrogen train?
Yeah, for sure. Could you break that down for us?
Okay, so basically picture this. A battery that, like, never runs out as long as you keep feeding it hydrogen. That's essentially what a hydrogen fuel cell does.
Really?
It converts hydrogen and oxygen into electricity, and the only byproduct is pure water vapor, clean energy.
So it's like while the rest of the world is trying to slowly electrify their rail lines, India's just like, nah, we're going completely emission free.
Talk about a power move. And they're strategically starting with their heritage in hilly regions. The article called it the Hydrogen for Heritage Initiative.
Hydrogen for heritage. I like that.
Yes.
Kitschy. It makes sense though, right? I mean, these areas are known for their natural beauty and they attract tourists from all over.
Exactly. It's like this perfect blend of preserving their heritage while also promoting sustainable tourism.
It's like they found this way to protect the past and the future all at the same time.
And we're not talking about like one or two experimental trains. This is a fleet of 35 trains they're planning.
35. Wow. Okay, so that's a pretty bold statement. What kind of message do you think that sends to the rest of the world?
It says that they're serious about investing in green technology, and not just for themselves, but like maybe with an eye on becoming a global leader in the field. I mean, this kind of large-scale adoption, it could potentially turn them into a major exporter of this technology down the line.
That's incredible. But, I mean, we got to talk about the elephant in the room here. This kind of project, it can't be cheap, right? What kind of investment are we talking about?
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. Developing a fleet of hydrogen trains, that requires like a massive amount of financial backing. The article mentioned a cost of about, let's see, Aris 80 core per train.
RS-80 core. Okay, so for those of us who don't speak rupee, how much is that?
It's almost US $10 million
$10 million per train.
per train. And that's just for the trains themselves. You also have to factor in the cost of building a whole new hydrogen production and refueling infrastructure from the ground up. So yeah, it's a hefty price tag.
Okay, so we're talking serious money here.
Yeah.
But like, if they manage to pull this off, I mean, this could be revolutionary, not just for India, but for like the global hydrogen fuel industry, period.
It's true. I mean, imagine this. If India, with its scale, can make hydrogen production work for its trains, it could potentially drive down the cost of fuel cells
Like,
globally.
and then that would have ripple effects everywhere.
Exactly. Suddenly, you'd see hydrogen power becoming more feasible for everything. Cars, homes, you name it.
Wow, so this could be even bigger than we initially thought.
Hmm?
We're talking about potentially accelerating the shift to clean energy on a global scale. This
Yeah.
is huge.
It's definitely a bold move, and the implications could be massive. But, and I hate to be like a downer here, but we gotta be real. This is a brand new technology, and with any new technology come challenges. There are bound to be some hurdles along the way.
Right, right, of course. I mean, it sounds amazing, but it can't all be smooth sailing. What kind of challenges are we talking about?
Well, the article did mention a few, particularly well, one of the biggest is cost. Producing green hydrogen, the kind made using renewable energy, it's still pretty pricey compared to like using fossil fuels. And that kind of offsets the whole environmental benefit a bit, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do they plan on overcoming that hurdle?
Well, they're tackling it from a few different angles. First off, they're putting a lot of resources into research and development, trying to find ways to make the whole green hydrogen production process more efficient and hopefully cheaper.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Innovation usually leads to lower costs eventually, right?
Exactly. And second, they're getting smart about using what they've already got. Remember that pilot project we talked about? The one where they're retrofitting those diesel trains with hydrogen fuel cells?
Oh, right. The one on the Jin Sonapat line.
That one. It's a pretty clever way to test the waters without having to build everything from scratch, you
I'm
know?
sure it's like a stepping stone.
Exactly. Start small, work out the kinks, then go big. And speaking of going big, the article also mentioned needing a really solid refueling infrastructure. That's another big challenge.
Oh, right, right. Because it's not like you can just pull up to any old gas station and fill up with hydrogen, right?
Exactly. It's a whole different ballgame. But they are working on it. They mentioned a new facility being built in Jin specifically for this
Oh,
purpose.
yeah, that's right. They're really going all in on this.
Right.
But with all this talk about hydrogen, I got to ask, and maybe it's just me, but isn't hydrogen flammable? Like really flammable?
Totally a valid question. Safety is obviously a huge concern, and it seems like they're taking it very seriously. They brought in this German company, TÜV Süd, to do all these independent safety audits.
TÜV Süd. That name rings a bell. Aren't they like the gold standard when it comes to safety certifications?
You got it. They're known worldwide for their super rigorous testing processes.
Okay, so they're not messing around. But on a slightly different note, I remember the article mentioning something about a new Vande Bharat sleeper train being developed too. Can you remind me what those Vande Bharat trains are all about?
Oh yeah, the Vande Bharat. Those are like India's pride and joy when it comes to their railways. Sleek design, modern amenities, high speed. Think of them as India's version of bullet trains. This new sleeper version, though, that's supposed to be even more luxurious and comfortable for long journeys.
Okay, cool. So two different train projects.
Yeah.
But is there maybe a connection here? Like, could we one day see a hydrogen-powered Vande Bharat sleeper train?
Whoa, now that would be something else. I mean, imagine that. Zipping across India in luxurious, high-speed comfort, all while running on clean energy. Now that's what I call progress.
Right. Combining those two projects would be amazing. And it kind of makes you wonder, what else are they cooking up over there? It feels like they're really trying to position themselves as a leader in, like, the future of train travel.
It's definitely an exciting time for innovation in train travel, that's for sure. And what's cool about what India is doing is it's not just about the tech itself, right? It's about the bigger picture.
Totally. We've talked about the environmental impact, but this is going to have some pretty big economic implications too, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if India becomes a leader in this hydrogen train technology, it's not just about cleaner trains, it's about creating jobs, boosting their economy, attracting investment in renewable energy. It has the potential to be a win-win on so many levels.
It's about putting them on the map as a technological innovator.
Exactly, showing the world that they're not just keeping up with the times, they're setting the pace.
Love it. Okay, so before we wrap things up, I got to ask, big picture, what do you think? Does this hydrogen train thing, does it have staying power? Could this be the future of train travel, not just in India, but globally?
That is the million-dollar question, honestly. It's hard to say for sure, but I'm cautiously optimistic. The technology is there, it's getting better all the time, and the benefits are clear.
And with projects like India's, it feels like we're moving in the right direction, at least.
Definitely. And, it's not just about the technology either. It's about having the will, the investment, and the vision to make it happen. And it seems like India's got all three.
They're going for it, that's for sure. Well, I got to say, this has been a fascinating deep dive. It's amazing to see how these big ideas can take shape and what they can mean for the future.
It's inspiring.
Totally.
And
You know, it's a good reminder for everyone listening.
Well.
Progress starts with an idea. It might seem impossible at first, but with enough passion, innovation, and, yeah, a little bit of risk-taking, who knows what we can achieve.
couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of hydrogen trains and India's grand plans. It's been a wild ride.
It has.
As always, we want to thank you, our amazing listeners, for joining us. And remember, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those imaginations running wild. Until next time, safe travels, everyone.